Here I am in all my glory trying to record a video when the sun's coming out, the sun's not coming out. I don't know if I'm coming or going, but here I am trying to pull off the impossible. For those of you that are new here, I usually don't record outside. I did it in my February challenge. I tried it out, and now I am outside for my Texas Longhorns. Hook 'em, by the way. And I'm going to talk about some things that I am worried about or some things that I'm thinking about as they head into their spring season. I don't know what I'm going to get from these Texas Longhorns, but my expectations are sky high, as I'm sure everybody's opinion of the Texas Longhorns right now are sky high. Obviously, there's the Arch Manning effect. Obviously, there's the semifinals effect. Obviously, there's the #1 recruiting class effect. Obviously, there's so many moving parts when it comes to Texas, and I don't know what this Texas team is going to do next year, but I know one thing: I'm going to be cheering them on, and I hope this is the year that we actually make it to the national championship game and win a national championship. But what do I know? This is one of those hard videos to make because Texas beat all the teams they were supposed to beat. They beat all the teams they were supposed to beat. They only lost to 2 teams last year. One of those teams just happened to win the national championship, and the other team just happened to be Georgia. And so that's a thing. The other thing I will say about the Texas Longhorns is that red zone offense is still not very good. I was whining and complaining about the red zone offense before the season started, and come to find out, it is not very good. And the other thing that really concerned me about Texas this year is how many times we turn the ball over. And so turnovers to me and penalties and all these different things start to stack up, and then you start to lose games. And so as we head into the spring, there's a couple of things that I'm going to be paying attention to that I really need Texas to do and figure out. I don't know if they're going to be able to figure it out in the spring, but my hope is that they're going to be able to figure it out in the spring. I think this Texas team is going to go as far as Alex January and Brandon Baker take this team. The reason why I say that is because Alex January is going to be on that defensive line, and Brandon Baker, if he wins the starting job, is going to be on the offensive line. I am one of those people that truly believes that the game happens, and the game is usually won by all the things that you might not see. It is easy for us to see if the quarterback is completing a pass. It is easy for us to see if the running back is running 10 yards, running 5 yards, running 6 yards. It is very easy for us to see a defender break up a pass. It's very easy for us to see certain things. However, what is usually not easy for us to see is that defensive line getting pressure? Is that defensive line being disruptive? What does that defensive line look like? I'm going to flip this and think about this offensive line. The offensive line is the same. Is Arch Manning... It's kind of weird saying Arch Manning. That's actually really weird. But are we giving Arch Manning time? Are we giving him time to go through his reads? Are we giving him time? I expect Trevor Gooseby to do his job, and so I need to know if Brandon Baker is going to be able to do his job on the other side. I'm also assuming that that job is going to go to Brandon Baker and that he's going to earn it. I don't know that for a fact, but that is my assumption. I'm just popping in here to say, hey, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Why are you watching content and you're not subscribed to my channel? Do me a solid, subscribe to my channel, like the video, and I will disappear from your screen and I will let you get into your video. And if what I am saying is true, I am going to focus on 2 people very important to me. It's going to be Alex January and Brandon Baker. I need those guys to break through, and I need them to have a great spring, and I need them to be ready for the season. That's just what it is. The other thing I'll say that I'm very interested in seeing is I just want to see how these freshmen act. I want to see, are any of them able to break into the starting lineup? Are any of the freshmen able to earn Sark's trust? What does Lance Jackson look like? He's probably going to be the freshman that I harp on. What are those receivers? What are those red shirt receivers going to look like? Because the truth of the matter is Texas has recruited very well for the last 3 years. And so if you've recruited well for the last 3 years, this is where that shows up. This is the moment where you start to look at your recruits and you start to go, okay, we have a plethora of guys that can do some things. So who's going to be the starter? How are we going to determine who's going to be the starter? That is what I'm going to be paying attention to. The other thing I'm really going to be paying attention to, and this is going to be a little bit weird for me, is I'm going to see what our linebackers look like. I feel like the University of Texas, we really don't talk about our linebackers. We just assume our linebackers are going to do what our linebackers are going to do because we have Anthony Hill Jr. I'm very curious to see what our linebacker group is going to look like this year, because I don't want to say I'm worried about our linebacker group, but I feel like the linebacker group last year had a lot of guys that we just knew who those guys were going to be. So I'm very curious to see what our linebacker room looks like this year. The sun is coming out. I usually don't like recording in the the sun, but I'm going to record in the sun just to see what this looks like. I'm going to stay and record in the sun just to see what it looks like. So if it looks really bad, you will all know why I don't like recording in the sun. So there's that. Consider this video like a test run. Consider this video like a test run to see if I can push my limits, to see what I could do, to see what happens, and all those things. The sun is super bright. I can't even see my eyes, and honestly, I can't even see myself in the camera anymore. So I don't know what this is going to look like.
2,000 years later.
If you have watched any of my videos on the Steelers and any of my videos on Colorado, you will know that this year I'm going with one word for all of my teams. The one word I am going with the Texas Longhorns is going to be details. The devil is always in the details. I need the Texas Longhorns to show and prove to me that they can focus on the details. Last year, we lost games because of the details. We lost games because of the first and goal in the semifinals. We didn't have a good play. We didn't trust our run game. We lost against Georgia because there was a lot of missed opportunities. I remember the fake punt. I don't know how Texas wasn't ready for the fake punt. The interception, I don't know how the Texas defender didn't turn around and throw a block for Jahdae Barron to score that touchdown. My point is a lot of the games that Texas lost last year were because of the details, not because of talent, not because of game plan, not because of any of those reasons other than the lack of us paying attention to the details. Now that I think about it, that Ohio State game, giving up that touchdown heading into halftime when everybody really knew what was coming except for the Texas defense, again, the details. This year, I am going to be focused on Texas and the details. I need the University of Texas football program to focus on the details. Their word is details. I just want to see how this Texas team is going to come together. I am very fascinated to see what the spring is going to look like because this is going to be a different type of springs. Coach Sark has already said that. So I'm very interested to see who is going to step up. Are we going to have freshmen step up? Are we going to have redshirt freshmen that are going to step up that none of us are thinking about? I'm very curious to see how this is all going to come together. I think it's interesting for me because this is going to be the second year in a row where Coach Sark really has to replace 10 plus starters on offense and defense. And so I'm very fascinated to see how that's going to work out. And then let me just say this because I would be a hypocrite if I didn't say this. I hope that Texas has this kicking game figured out. I do not want to sit back and watch Bert Auburn kick field goals if I don't have to, if he's going to be inconsistent. I'm all about giving guys a second chance. I'm all about guys improving. I'm all about that. However, I need to see that he's improving. If he's not improving, I want to know that Texas has a plan for a kicker so that we do not miss out on field goals because, oh my gosh, if we have to deal with that again, I'm going to lose my crap. So there's that. Texas is where I hoped all my other teams would be coming into this year. Texas, in my opinion, they're kind of right where they're supposed to be. Did I want them to win the national championship last year? Absolutely, I did. Was I shocked that they didn't beat Ohio State? No, I wasn't, because the truth is, in that semifinal game, a lot of the things that we'd been struggling with all year really showed up, and it showed up in the worst ways, which is usually how it happens. And so this year, my hope is that Coach Sark is focusing on red zone offense, please and thank you. I hope that he is focusing on penalties and turnovers and things like that, please and thank you. And I hope that we are focused on all the details, all the little details, which I believe is going to be the reason why we win or lose. I hope we focus on those things. I want to end this video by saying this. A lot of you are going to realize that I did not one time mention Arch Manning's name. That is by design. I do not want to have to mention Arch Manning's name without the rest of the team getting their crap together. My expectation is that Arch Manning is going to be what Arch Manning is going to be. I am going to give him the benefit of that doubt because I saw him play quarterback last year. I saw what Arch Manning can do, so I don't need to talk about him. But what I do need is for the rest of the team to get their crap together. If the rest of the team, if our defensive line can get it together, if our offensive line can get it together, if our run game can get it together, if our coaches can call things that make sense, that help our team, all of those other factors are going to matter into us winning a championship. It doesn't matter if Arch Manning is absolutely spectacular if that offensive line isn't blocking for him. It doesn't matter if Arch Manning is absolutely spectacular if his play calling is not good. It doesn't matter if Arch Manning is absolutely spectacular if that defensive line can't get any pressure or our cornerbacks or our linebackers aren't very good. My point in saying this is I'm very aware of the Arch Manning effect. I'm very aware that we have Arch Manning. However, I don't have to mention Arch Manning in every video. What's understood doesn't need to be explained. I'm not going to explain Arch Manning to you you, but I do need the team and the rest of these areas to get their crap together. My expectation is Arch Manning is going to do what Arch Manning is supposed to do, because that is why you're a 5-star. You do what you're supposed to do. He started 2 games last year. I saw Arch Manning. I know what Arch Manning can do. I'm going to expect him to do what he is supposed to do. So if I expect Arch Manning to do what he's supposed to do, I have to focus in on guys that I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what Brandon Baker is going to do. I don't know what Alex January is going to do if he becomes a starter. I don't know what some of these other guys are going to do, and that is why I'm going to focus on them and not harp on Arch Manning. I'm going to expect Arch Manning to be Arch Manning. He's earned that, at least from the 2 games that I saw. The last thing before I end this video, I just want to say CJ Baxter is probably not going to play in the spring, but this team might be as strong as CJ Baxter is as he comes back, or we might have recruited very well in that running back room. I don't know. I didn't want to touch on the running back room because it's a little touchy, because honestly, I want CJ Baxter to come back and be CJ Baxter. We just don't know, and I don't know what to say, and so I didn't talk about our running back room. So that is that. The devil is in the details. The details for my Texas Longhorns. So that's the first thing. The other thing I'll say, if you like this content and you want to hear more from me throughout this offseason, don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you're interested in my membership, don't forget to join. Before I end this video, I wanted to just say hook 'em again, just because it's really pretty outside. This weather is a little bit wonky, but I'm outside. I'm doing it. Let's see how this edit ends. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in my next video.